I was pretty excited and pretty encouraged by this new episode of The Walking Dead. 809, that's season 8, episode 9. This is my spoiler review. I'm Oatmeal Joey. I just got done watching it, and there's a lot of good things about it. It was pretty emotional, and I was crying as Carl was dying. Did I say spoiler? So, it's really good to work together, and I'll tell you that's what I like. I can tell you some things about what I liked about the episode. I can tell you that it's good when you're able to find compassion, when you're able to find some grace, when you're able to help the people around you. And that is what I like about people, most of all, people. Also, the things that people do, the things that people are able to create is amazing, and it contributes to how amazing and how unique people are. You know, that includes technology, especially Steam and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, blockchain. Some of the new stuff that's been rising the past few years is pretty special, pretty amazing, and that's what I really like. And so it talks about that in a way. There's reference to possibilities, to potential for mankind in The Walking Dead. And I like to focus on those things as much as I can. On the other hand, I don't like any reference, implication, even indirectly, to socialism, communism, Marxism, globalism, a one world globalism. And there were references to globalism in The Walking Dead, and an indirect reference to Islam. First, in the guy that Carl saved, and he may be a Muslim, even though they don't talk about it, or I don't remember if they talk about it in any of the episodes in The Walking Dead, but he does look like a Muslim or a Hindu from India. But psychologically speaking, we have that connection. It's going to be subconscious, even if it's not talked about. Even if it's not talked about, there's some kind of subconscious thing going on, and it might be there on purpose, probably is. But if you ask the creators, the writers, they would deny it, maybe, or they would say, yeah, it's okay, like this is what we did with the reference. And so you see the guy, so he's a reference to Islam. You also see the woman with the hood over her head in The Walking Dead. Those two people are references to Islam and how we need to tolerate and accept Islam. To that I say, no, we don't. So those are two things I don't like. References to socialism, and number two, references to Islam. It's not that I'm against freedom, free will, for people to believe whatever they want to believe and everything, but the problem is that the propaganda, the stuff that that everybody's trying to, not everybody, but they're trying to get us to accept certain things. Well, let there be light, and there was light. And it's everywhere. Like, there's always certain things that they're trying to get us to believe in, but they're silencing other opinions that are differing from these things. So I don't like those two things, socialism and Islam. Number 3, there was another thing, something to do with something like peace was referenced, something to do with humanism, globalism, something to do with how we don't really need to kill people. We don't have to kill people. We don't have to murder people, execute people. That was talked about in The Walking Dead as well. And it's been talked about many, many times in the past 8 years. And I've been watching The Walking Dead for the past 8 years, and it's been quite a journey. I've been watching it almost probably episode by episode. Not the first season. I started watching it. I binge watched the first season right after it was done. After somebody told me, Sharon Clayton. So she told me. I was talking to her on the phone, and she told me about it. And it was really, really good to know. So thank you for telling me. I say that to you. And I was hooked ever since, and I started watching episode after episode as they came out ever since 2010. It was probably, might have been December 2010, or it might have been 2011. I don't know exactly, but been following The Walking Dead and The Talking Dead since then, and I like it a lot because it deals with these questions about life and death and cancer and governments and whether or not we should love our enemies or kill our enemies, or how do we get along with people who are different, or a guy who's sleeping with my wife, or all sorts of stuff. And it's really, really good. A lot of things are good. There's a lot of things that has happened in the past 8 years in The Walking Dead. If you haven't been following it, just take my word for it. It's very interesting and entertaining and scary and a lot of things. And this episode was very intense. And it was good in some ways, but it was also a little bit disappointing in the sense that it seems to be promoting some kind of secularism, humanism, this idea of maybe we don't have to kill people. And I understand that that's a good idea. Like, it is, like, in the world we live in, that would be good for the most part. Probably. There may be exceptions, but generally speaking, you want to live at peace with everybody, with all men. You don't want to just kill people. You don't want to be in that kind of world. But if you are in that kind of world already, you probably should, if it's life or death. If you're in a life or death situation, then you need to kill everybody. Basically. There may be some exceptions to that, and maybe that's what the show was talking about. In this episode 809, they're killing people, and there is the king, Ezekiel, and he's captured and they're gonna bring him to Negan, and then who's that woman? What's her name? And Morgan. They come, they start killing people, killing all these people. They sneak in and they go after the group and the guy that has King Ezekiel. They're killing people left and right, stabbing them, shooting them. And then they finally corner the guy who had King Ezekiel, who also had a lion. The lion died, sacrificed himself earlier in an earlier episode, and that was pretty sad. And the king was probably going to sacrifice himself too, but then his friends came to save him, and then they were going to go kill the last guy, the leader. And then Morgan was thinking about not killing him, and Carol was trying to tell him not to kill, and that it's sometimes you don't have to kill, sometimes it's okay. And Morgan said, I have to. And then the boy stabs him in the neck from the back, the little boy who came, and Carol told the boy not to come, but he came and he stabbed that guy through the neck from the back. And then the boy said, I had to, just like Morgan said that he had to. And I think he had to too. I totally agree. But there was so much pressure from the other characters, and it's almost like they want the audience to think that killing is bad in that situation. And I would disagree, because when you're in a time of war, you have to do that. We may not live in a world like that entirely, completely, not to that extent, not in a place where there's that many zombies, walkers, and problems where civilizations are all gone, assuming that they're all gone in The Walking Dead. And it's very hard to say exactly if that's the case or not, but assuming that, you have to go into the war mode. You have to turn it on or turn it off, and be in the zone for that period of time in history. You have to be prepared, like be the toughest dog in a dog eat dog world, in a kind of world where either you conquer or you're conquered. It's kind of what Warmonger was feeling. Is that the main villain in Black Panther? Warmonger? Killmonger? I think it was Killmonger. He was kind of agreeing with me, perhaps. So am I wrong if I agree with Killmonger? If you're wondering why am I agreeing, it's because I'm not. But it may sound like I am, but I'm not. And what's the difference between me and Killmonger? Killmonger was trying to seek revenge for crimes, for allegations of like what some people, especially white people, were doing to the black people as slave owners. He wanted to kill people because they were the imperialists, they were the colonists, they were the slave owners. And he was saying, or implying, and assuming that white people are the only slave owners, even though we kind of know that there were other kinds of slave owners too, and colonists of different colors. You can say that we know. We know that there's all kinds of slave owners and stuff. Historically speaking, since the dawn of time. But in the Black Panther, it emphasizes on just the white people. The implications, the assumptions, the reference, indirectly or directly, subconsciously, psychologically, this kind of makes you look that direction. Legally, they may be able to escape any problems. They could have lawyers if they were to go to court, if people were to accuse them of doing that. How do I say, but the implication is still there that they're trying to get us in a big race war. People like Emperor George Soros, has been spending billions and billions of dollars creating race wars, sex wars, gender wars, other kinds of wars, all kinds of wars, this dividing people, divide and conquer. It's a tactic, it's a war tactic, and it's been happening for a very long time. And we talk about it because we raise awareness. Me, InfoWars, Drudge, Milo, Cernovic, Molinix, Rebel Media. You can see some of it on Steemit and Gab. You can go to the drugs, or don't go to the drugs, because the Emperor Soros says you can't go there, so you can't go there. But I'm telling you that there is a difference between Killmonger in Black Panther and me, because what I'm saying is you gotta kill in a time of war, as you're in the middle of something. Killmonger wasn't actually in the middle of something, and he was going after only one kind of people, as opposed to other people, because actually, statistically speaking, white people didn't have a lot of slaves compared to the black people, the yellow people, the brown people, all kinds of people. Statistically, the white people are the minority in the world. They're the minority, they're not the majority. If I didn't know any better, I would think that we were the majority, because people always try to talk about how terrible and evil the white people are. They may not say that directly to your face, but they imply it. They try to make you feel that white people need to stop having babies. And that we're just like the cause of all the problems in the world, and that if all the white people go away, then that will make the world into some kind of perfect utopia, which is code for socialism, communism, Marxism, which is actually bigger government, even though the theory behind it, they say, is to get everybody to be equal, so that everybody makes the same amount of money. So there's no gender gap, the pay gap between males and females, and black people and white people, and the yellow people and the brown people, all kinds of colors of people, so that everybody can sing Kumbaya around a campfire. That's the dream. That's the idea. And it sounds really, really exciting and great and cool. Lovely. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and we can see that it doesn't happen. It's just a lie, and it's a cover up, and you gotta just look at what they're doing, not just at what they're saying. Look at what the government is doing, not just what they're saying, not what the other people, especially in school. Look at what they're doing and not doing, not just what they're saying. Because they can say, well, we're all going to be the same, but then you look at the government, and the government's way up here, and they're taking and they're controlling. Everything is centralized, and there is corruption, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and a lot of things. And historically, there's a cycle where the government gets bigger, the king gets bigger, the empire gets bigger, and we want to believe that we can live in harmony and stuff. We can have peace, and we can all be the same, but it doesn't happen because we are not all the same. We're not the same. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. Everybody's special. And that's good and that's bad. And there's a lot of pros and cons in that. But it's just simply how we are. Not every snowflake is the same. None of the snowflakes are the same. Every snowflake is different. I'm not talking about liberals. I'm saying snowflakes. Like real snowflakes. Like things are different. You can be fair to people. You can have the same set of rules and treat people fairly in capitalism, okay? In capitalism, in the free market, in the world, you can give people equal opportunity, but that doesn't mean that they're going to do the same. People are going to do good, and some people are going to do really, really, really good. And if everybody's given the same, even though they don't do the same, that creates a lot of problems. And I was just trying to compare what I believe with what Killmonger believes in Black Panther. He wants to go and attack people because of the color of their skin and not the content of their character, as said by Martin Luther King Jr., who talked about having a dream where black and white people are together. And then you look at how Marxism is in South Africa so much, and it's growing and growing, and their face is seen, their mask is slipped. And I'm talking about The Walking Dead. It's 2018, February 26th, I think. And yeah, it's Monday, and it is 12:56, almost 1 p.m. and I just got done watching The Walking Dead 809. Wow, season 8, and Carl died. He was bit. So I'm going to watch the Talking Dead now. But I decided to make this video first because it's still like on my mind, and I really wanted to talk about the 3 things I didn't like. I probably should make a smaller video where I say it in the first 5 seconds. Like, here are the 3 things I didn't like about this episode and the series in general. 1, socialism. 2, Islam. 3, globalism. Or what's the word for not killing people? Passivism. Yeah, that's right. Being passive. Being a pacifist. Something that some people talk about, like the Dalai Lama, or who was the other guy? Was that his name? No, I think it's not the Dalai Lama, but somebody before him. Guy in India who sat under a tree. Who was that guy? Was it him? Was it Muhammad? Muhammad Ali, the boxer, or Muhammad the the prophet of God, the prophet of not God, but Allah, but a false god in Islam. Well, they don't think it's a false god, but I think it's a false god. But those are three things I didn't like. And I try to tell you, I've already told you about the first two, and I told you a little bit about the third one. The third thing I didn't like about this episode. Very simple. I don't like socialism, Islam, and pacifism. I don't like socialism because it doesn't work, and because capitalism is better. I don't like Islam because that is too political and it has too much jihadism in it and Sharia law. And basically it's too political in the sense that they overtake the countries they occupy, first by being refugees, then by overpopulating themselves compared to the general population, and then they're able to dominate the countries they're in. They've done it so many times in history. For hundreds and hundreds of years, they've been doing it again and again and again in many, many countries, especially in the Middle East. That was mostly Christian many, many years ago. The Middle East was mostly Christian, and the Muslims took over that, and they killed so many Christians. And then Northern Africa and southern parts of Africa is a little bit Christian, but Islam is going south too, and is infiltrating, and globalism has been infiltrating Christianity, and Islam has been infiltrating globalists and kind of working together with them, with liberals, to take over Western civilization. And this is the thing that I'm not happy about, but all I can do is tell you, and if you want, you can be a part of the second global revolution that's going around all around the world while you are on your phone as you're doing your thing. There's other things going on that's revolutionary and is very historic, and you're missing out if you're not a part of these things that are happening. And back to the Walking Dead 809. So back to the last thing I didn't like. The fact that they talk about how maybe they don't need to kill people. It's crazy because they're in a time of war and you gotta kill people to survive. You don't have a government, or you don't have a big enough system to really survive without doing that. You gotta be a barbarian in that situation, probably. I mean, I could be wrong, maybe. I'm open to that. But at the same time, as far as I know, based on what I've seen, you gotta just kill your enemies. You have to kill your enemies. And Christians can do that. Atheists can do that. All kinds of people can understand. Hello? I've not done this before.
Hello?
What is going on? How can I help you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you say that? I'm trying to talk about The Walking Dead. That's what I'm talking about. I'm making a video about The Walking Dead. And I really want people to understand that life
How are you?
Capitalism. Capitalism is better. It's very dark in your video, but I really, really love capitalism, and it's the best thing ever, and it's been working for so long. And I encourage people to look at that. And I want you to look at that want you to look at history because a lot of people don't know history. And I encourage you to look at history because patterns in history that goes around and around. It's a zoo. It's a big zoo. A lot of the other people are burying it, and that's too bad. It's 200. And I'm talking about The Walking Dead 809. Most recent episode. You see Negan in like a vision of the future, and he's like in the garden. And Judith said, it's very, very interesting. I mean, I'm happy to see Negan in the garden. I'm happy to see.
Here is a signal
I don't
problem.
know if Negan can really do that.
Here is some problem in signal. Do you know?
I know that there are always problems with the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is always having problems. It happens many, many times.
Oh, where are you from?
I'm from a land far away, probably a place you can never imagine, but you gotta understand that I'm very happy for what's happening in the world. And it's a little bit scary, but at the same time, you either gotta try or you can give up. But if you believe in freedoms and choices and everything, then you gotta let people have their say in life. And I'm not really sure if I really like Carl and how he sacrificed himself in The Walking Dead. So I guess that would be a fourth thing. Maybe I should make this video again. Because I don't think he needed to die, but I mean, I understand the story is that he made a mistake and he got bitten by a walker, a zombie, and he started to die, and he was able to think about
Hello,
it.
listen. Hello, listen. You speak English so fast, but I can understand full
I have
in English.
to talk fast. I have to. If you can't, then you got to go find somebody who can talk a little bit slower, because I'm not gonna talk a little bit slower because I got things to say and I got places to go, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is who I am, and I'm not gonna stop, and I'm not gonna bow down anybody. I'm sorry, because, or maybe I'm not sorry, but I'm telling you that I am a talker and a walker, and I really don't think he should have died. And it's too bad. It's too bad that he had to die, but I guess that is part of the story, and it's better that way. Well, maybe, I don't know if I can use the word better or not, but
Then
there has to be some peace, but at the same time, there has to be some justice. You gotta emphasize on grace to an extent in your place, in your position, but you gotta have some perspective. You gotta have enough perspective to understand what really matters. And I don't know if you're gonna see that in the video or not. I think I already called you. Okay, somebody said call me, Mr. Z Adnan Afridi. I think I was just on the phone with you in the video, and that was my first time being in a video with other people at the same time, and that was kind of interesting. But I think it's important to understand different points of views, and you can be tolerant to an extent of different things, different religions, different cultures, but at the same time, you need to have boundaries and you need to care about your people, your family, your culture first. You should do your best to take care of your people first before other people, and that's why there is nationalism, and that's why I promote nationalism over globalism. Globalism and Islam is trying to take over the world. They're not the same thing, but they're both doing the same thing to some extent. They're both going over Western civilization, unfortunately, and they believe in it. Globalism is a thing that's been around for hundreds of years, but it's been rising a lot in the past 100 years, and it's been working and aligning themselves off with Islam and maybe a few other things and people, but it's a big mess, but it's very, very complex for some people. But I am happy to be a voice, and you can be a voice too. And in this episode of Walking Dead 809, I was just like, no, this, no, that, no, come on, Morgan, just kill the guy. But the boy killed the guy. He needed to die. People need to die. Carl, that guy, other guy, but he shouldn't have. Well, I mean, I guess maybe he should have, but at the same time, he got bit, and now Carl's dead. Who is more important, Carl or that stranger? And the whole design of the show at this point is trying to get you to feel like you have to die. You have to sacrifice yourself to help the Muslim people and the refugees. I mean, that's the symbolism there. It's symbolic, whether it was intended or not, whether it was directly talked about or not, it was there. That's what happened. That's what it's doing in our minds. It's getting us to accept Islam more, because that's the goal of Obama, especially. And Obama talked about how anybody who talks bad about Allah and Muhammad must be dominated over and killed or murdered or something like that. And actually probably much worse than that. But Obama talked about it because he was and is Muslim, and he's having secret meetings now with people. He tells people, don't tell anybody about what we're talking about in these meetings. And he goes around the world. He follows Donald Trump, and he's trying to do things. He has a fortress. He has some kind of castle thing that's right next to the White House. Obama's still in the deep state, and he's still doing things behind the scenes, and he's just thing and trying to destroy America in the world. First you take down America, then you dominate the world. And a lot of countries are dominated already. And it's very unfortunate, but we are in a war, and Europe is being taken over. And in some years from now, it will probably be like the Middle East if they don't fight back and stop the domination from the people from the Middle East. and there's a lot of cover-up, and social networks are covering things up. They're banning people who talk about the terrible things that are happening in Europe. Maybe they'll ban me too. If I'm banned, hey, remember I said this, if you're watching, I'll be banned maybe. You know, they're banning people. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the others are banning and deleting and removing and shadow banning and removing videos, photos, articles, accounts, profiles, groups, pages, many things. They've been attacking conservatives, mostly conservatives, all around the world, especially in Europe and in Africa. Maybe I don't know about Africa, but America. In America, but mostly Europe at the moment. But they're trying to do it more in America too. Stopping people, killing people, removing people like Milo, Alex Jones, Roger Stone. Me too. Me. My Oza Wall channel on YouTube. They deactivated it or disabled it, terminated it. I had thousands of videos on Oza Wall. YouTube.com/Ozwall. And it's a big war that we're in. We're in a big war. And there are revolutions happening all around the world. And we are winning as long as we continue to expose and give more transparency to the powers that be, the corporatism, monopolism, plutocracy, Islamization, globalization, the terrible things that they're doing, the chemtrails in the air where they're putting terrible things into the air, into our food, you know, trying to put robots and nanobots and stuff into the food and the people and the animals and the soil, the ground, the dirt, the land, everything, you know, just like the stuff's coming, the geoengineering is happening. They're trying to do it more and more in lots of places in the world, especially America, and they're just, you know, changing the DNA, the genetics, the chemistry, to food, to people, to animals, to a lot of things. And they're trying to just mutate it and degrade us, and so that they can dominate us, take away our guns, take away a lot of different things, so that they can get bigger and have more control, and so that we are dumbed down, so that they can reduce the population through Agenda 21 and through a lot of different things. And they've been doing this for years and years, and they've been doing it more and more. And you should talk about it. If you care, if you just want to die and you want your family to die, then don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. If you can hear my voice and you don't care about the future, your children, your family, your friends, your people, then you can do nothing, and you can miss out on these global revolutions, very, very incredible global revolutions, and you can join us, or you can sleep and you can go back to your life where you don't care about what's really, really happening in the world. You could be just in a fantasy world where you're just playing all day, just doing your thing, playing all day and stuff, not worrying about the real issues. You can just be shallow and stuff, and some people are pretty shallow, and that's too bad, and it's just very, very things are happening in the world, and you got to get down to the philosophy and the foundation of everything to really understand. If you understand history, if you understand where we come from, where we might come from, and the course of history and your own life, you can have a lot of peace. You can have a lot of perspective, eternal perspective in life and love. The meaning of life is love, and the meaning of love is life. And first you gotta live life, and then love life, and then love, and then live love. Those are the four things you gotta do.
You gotta do, you can do if you want to do, and you can do it, and it's incredible, and it's exciting, and it's great, and very cool. And I was just talking about The Walking Dead 809. I'm doing this spoiler review, and, that stuff happened, they're just like running away from the saviors, and Negan, they went and the Negan and the saviors, they just destroyed their community, their community, the houses that they were living in, their little neighborhood with the walls around it. What was that place called again? Alexandria. And they just totally dominated it. They just burned down all the buildings. And this kind of happens again and again in The Walking Dead. The farm burnt down. The prison burnt down. The campground might have burnt down. Their own cities that they're from, like Atlanta, burnt down in the first episode. Not really burnt down, but they abandoned it, and place after place, almost like every season, they have to go to a new place. They have to abandon the old place, and at the end, they probably almost met the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I love the Turtles, and they had to go down into the sewers as Carl was dying, and they had to go and bury him, and it's very difficult, and Carl killed himself. He shot himself with a gun, and that's like a reference to assisted suicide, or suicide in general, because he did it by himself, and how terrible guns must be, because you can kill people with the guns, you can kill yourself with the guns, and that's the one thing that people do with guns, is they kill themselves with guns. They might do that more often than killing other people. Guns prevent violence and murder because it scares people away, like a scarecrow. A gun is a scarecrow, and it's there for government to keep them in balance. It's controversial only because we lack the understanding of history, and we were never taught the purpose of a tool, of a gun, of a thing, whatever it is. We don't really know how to be people anymore. We don't know how to live in the wild. We've been so domesticated, like pets. We're like the pets of the globalists and the rulers, the powers that be, and they're just dumbing us down a little bit, turning us into gay frogs like Alex Jones, and they're trying to just dominate us and censure, and they've done it to me too. Twitter said that I was working with Russia, or that I've been retweeting Russian bots, but what I retweeted were some of the same things that I was tweeting myself, and therefore by that logic I would be a Russian bot too, because I'm just talking about what they're talking about, and what they're talking about is what I'm talking about, and therefore if they're Russian, I'm Russian, because we're doing the same thing, and it's just ordinary people, and people that I know, and people that you know. And Twitter emailed me and said, "Oh, you're Russian, you're bad." Now Russia is not the Soviet Union. It's a different country now. It's different. It's not the USSR, because of what happened, the revolution and stuff in Russia back in 1991 or so. And that was like about 20 years ago. And so a lot of things have happened since then. But they're dumbing us down so much in the world, especially in America, on CNN and other mainstream media. And they're just like talking about it all the time. And even on the entertainment shows, the late night comedy shows, and even on social media, they talk about it. And they try to talk about how evil Russia is, but Russia's not the same as it was. It's trying to get away from socialism, communism, those kinds of things. So either you're for it or you're against it. And so if Russia's so bad because of socialism, why are you trying to bring socialism into America? That's what I would ask the leftists, because you can't be for and against the same thing. But Russia was for socialism, and the leftists are hating Russia for socialism, and they're trying to promote socialism at the same time. So socialism is okay if the left does it, but socialism is not okay if Russia does it. Russia bad, Russia bad because of socialism, but the left is good because of socialism, whereas the logic and that. But basically, that's what it is when you take the time to look at the outline from a distance, you're able to see that. But it takes some perspective. And I think I'm gonna go watch Star Wars Rebels maybe today. I'm gonna go and work on trying to look at that, download it through BitTorrent. I love cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency is not a digital currency. There may be some laws concerning digital currencies. I would argue and say it's not the same as cryptocurrencies because there has to be a difference because of the fact that cryptocurrencies use cryptography, the blockchain, decentralization, and peer-to-peer transactions stuff. Basically those four things are unique to cryptocurrencies and not unique to digitalized dollars. I just wrote a post about it, a comment on Steenit about it. There's a difference. And why would people want to create something they already have if Bitcoin and Steam and other cryptocurrencies were there to introduce us to one world cryptocurrency? Why would they do that if they already have the almighty dollar, which does the same thing? It can be wired around and be people have been wiring money for decades, for many, many years. It's already digitalized, the fiat money. And even other currencies too can be wired and controlled. It can be centralized in to computer. You know what I'm saying? Like it's already doing that. I'm just trying to say there's a difference between Bitcoin and the dollar. There's a difference. And government cannot really regulate it without taking away all your freedoms, because they have to get into your computer to know if you have a password, a passphrase into the Bitcoin network to see if you have any Bitcoin. Technically, legally, nobody has Bitcoin because it's not something you have and take like a dollar, like money, normal money. There's a difference because of cryptography. It's a system. It's a blockchain. It's different, but people don't know that. Some people do, but it takes a little bit of time to understand it and to get into it. And so you're always going to hear people argue and say, well, it's just like the dollar. Yeah, Bitcoin is just like a dollar. But it's not really. It's not really. I mean, if it was, then it'd be very controllable and stuff, arguably speaking. Like I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying. But anyways, I'm just talking about The Walking Dead in this video, and I'm just referencing other things. I found Sparky today in a box on the shelf, and I hung them up. Sparky. Can you see Sparky? There's Sparky behind the light. There's another Sparky right there, hanging up. Right, so I feel like that's very interesting. I think life is better if we promote capitalism, and The Walking Dead is not promoting capitalism. There were about 4 or 5 different things I didn't really like about this episode and the series in general, but I will still continue to watch The Walking Dead, even as it promotes Islam, globalization, pacifism, some needless sacrifices, those things. Did I say socialism? And it's too bad, but a lot of things are happening, but I'm going to continue to speak out the truth, and you can join us if you care about you can continue to be a revolution to people around you as you talk about the things that you love, and don't be scared. Just continue to talk about it, make videos, just ask people questions, be a part of conversations with the people online and offline, and don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Don't keep all your investment eggs in one basket, or all the stuff, all your work, videos, photos, articles, the things that you write, anything that you have. Keep it in many, many different places, because sometimes there will be maybe a fire. Maybe you might lose your stuff. So keep your stuff here and there and everywhere, and share it with other people. But please promote capitalism, because it's a better system for so many reasons, for so many ways. Be a part of the revolution. Be a part of the conversation. Let people join you in conversations, and be more patient with children. Talk to them more about life. Try to connect with them, because they are the future, and it takes a lot of time to impact the next generation, especially as they're being drugged to death. But there is a lot of hope and joy in life and love and everything. So much hope over dope and joy over circumstances. It takes time to understand it. It takes time to figure things out, but it's not impossible. And you have a lot of help all around you, more than you know. And then when you look back, you realize there was a lot of help and a lot of things you'll be thankful of, people and other things. And it's remarkable. Life is full of miracles and grace. You can pass it on, not because you have to, but because you want to. I want to, you want to, and it's better that way. If you have any questions, let me know. And pacifism and needless sacrifice, globalism, socialism, pacifism, those things are promoted. Subconsciously speaking, it's promoted. It's talked about in The Walking Dead. And through the series, all 8 years, they've been promoting this kinds of stuff, these things, and it's in other shows and in movies and media. There are these things that they're just trying to give us, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly, subconsciously, psychologically. They're just throwing stuff at us and trying to brainwash us in so many ways to get us to become zombies. The Walking Dead is all about us, as we're walking dead. We are the Walking Dead. I'm Oatmeal, and you're a Walking Dead. I'm Oatmeal, and you're a potato. Or Walking Dead. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. This is the end of the video. Please watch the end of the video. I mean, the whole video, because it's the end of the video. I just talked about The Walking Dead 809. This is 2018 to 26 Monday. It is 1:32 p.m. right now, Pacific Standard Time, near Seattle and Shelton, Washington. I'm Oatmeal. Joey Arnold is the end of the video. Do 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 do. I don't know. there was one person that was probably watching, then now that person went away. That's good, okay, because I don't think that person really cared, because as soon as that person stopped being able to see my face, the other person walked away. And so I think that means that the person wasn't really listening to what I was saying, because it's the fact that the person couldn't see me and now can't see me. I mean, it was able to see me and was watching just to see my face, but wasn't really listening, even though I'm still talking. And so if the person was listening, then the person would still be listening because I'm still talking. You just can't see me. So, I feel like that's a thing that kind of shows you, hey, what's up? But I'm not here to talk about that really, because I've already talked about that in other videos. Anyways, it's really interesting, like talking about things like this. I'm probably going to do more like this in the future and stuff, but I'm kind of in the middle of a lot of things and working on a lot of things. You know what I do? I'm 33 and been around the world. I've been in Vietnam and New York and West Virginia, and I was in Oregon and California, and I've been a camp counselor for for 5. I'm an oatmeal man. For original oatmeal is all about being jars of clay. I would rather be oatmeal than a walking dead. A walking dead. Are you walking dead, or are you oatmeal? Are you just a potato? Walking potato dead? Or dead walking potato? Or you want to be oatmeal like me? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. All right.